Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Cozy Reads with Sarah. I'm Sarah, and this week I will be reviewing The Badass Librarians of Timbuktu by Joshua Hammer and narrated by Paul Bulmer. I tried to listen to this. This was one of the books that I had bought. I bought this at Changing Hands bookstore in Phoenix. I love their recommendations. They would do these little index cards, and the different employees would write their favorite books and reviews, and they had reviewed this, one of the employees stating that this was such a great book, it was such a great read, and I think it was on sale. So if a book's on sale and it has a good review by the employee, especially at Changing Hands bookstore, I'm gonna get it. So I had picked it up, but unfortunately it didn't make it in the move, but luckily the library had it on audiobook. It's a short book. It's only 288 pages. However, the 288 pages really did not focus in on the librarians. I made it 55% into the book, and it was really more about history, music festivals, which is random, and of course the war that was happening there. The main plot was lost, and I just couldn't keep track of all the names. There were so many names, people from Timbuktu, leaders, people from all over the Middle East, these librarians, but plus they name dropped Bono. I mean, so much of this book was talked about music festivals. I guess music is big in Timbuktu, and there's this big music festival that happens. They talk about mainly war, and obviously I know that that's kind of the reason why these librarians are considered badass and rescue these books from being destroyed in the war. I understand that, but it just felt so convoluted. I didn't know who the librarians were. I couldn't keep track of that, what books they rescued and where they were I honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't think I missed anything, because when I read the reviews on Fable and Goodreads, most of the people said the same thing, that if you're interested in the history of the war and things that happened, read the book. But it's really not about the librarians of Timbuktu. It's more about the war and the history of that. And there's just too many names, and there's too much going on. So unless you are a Middle Eastern scholar, I don't know, or you're really interested in Middle Eastern history, which I took a lot of Middle Eastern, especially Islam history classes and religious classes in college, because unfortunately I was there during 9/11 and had a lot of friends from that area of the world, and who were experiencing the hate crimes after 9/11, which was so heartbreaking to me. It was really sad. I find the beauty in all religions, but there's also the ugliness in all religions. The fighting over who's right, who's wrong, and just their infiltration of their beliefs into politics, which I feel, especially in the United States, it doesn't belong. Religion doesn't belong in politics. Especially in the United States, not everyone is Christian. So, and it's sad because I feel, what they stated, we're going to war for 9/11, it wasn't that. But and we say, oh, let's fight for women's freedom in the Middle East, but we as women in the West are losing our freedoms faster and faster, and women are dying here because of religious beliefs and extremism. And it's really sad, and it's really scary to be an American woman and having my sisters in certain states losing their lives or being threatened with prosecution for doing things that would save their life or for the best for their family, that politicians and political and religious figures have no right, no say in. So I try to not get into those debates on my channels you know, it's a little too heated, but just know that I stand with humanity, that we should respect everyone's beliefs, we should respect everyone's culture. There's beauty and destruction everywhere, and this is why we read, right? To gain empathy and to realize that we're all human, and everyone, men, women, children, animals, we all deserve equality and rights, and we all deserve to live in peace and with clean water and food, and being treated as humans, and not having races or sexes enslaved or prosecuted because of things that they can't control, either their religious beliefs or color of skin or gender or gender identity or who you love. That's what I'm passionate about, is that we're all just trying to live, and we're all just trying to love, and we're all just trying to contribute to society and feel useful here on our short time. And it's just, with everything that's happening, it's just really sad that so many politicians and people have lost sight of that. And it's interesting that you always think things get better throughout history, throughout time, but it feels like we're going backwards. So it's a little sad, it's a little scary. But I digress. I gave the Badass Librarians of Timbuktu, even though I DNF'd it, a 1.5 star instead of a 1. I gave it that extra half a point because the research was, it was there. Maybe it would have been different if I was reading it. Maybe my brain could have processed all these different names a little bit better. But by listening to it, and you know, usually when I'm listening to audiobooks, I'm listening right before I go to sleep, or if I'm doing something else. If I'm reading an ebook or a book, obviously I'm focused on that. So maybe the Badass Librarians of Timbuktu is just not a book to listen to on audiobook, but I may attempt to actually physically read it at a later date, but honestly, I probably won't. I just have too many books, and being on Fable, I just keep adding more and more books to my TBR. I think my TBR is almost at 1,500. That's a lot of books to read. And I'm not a spring chicken, so unless there's some age extending things that happen, which I doubt it, because you know they're saying that for the first time in a long time we are not outliving our parents. So we're dying younger and younger, and we can see that everywhere. Maybe not in the news, but if you look on YouTube, you see that the number of people dying from heart attacks in their 30s and 40s is scary. So, you know, I just hope that I get to read all the books that I want to read, and travel to the places that I want to travel to, and contribute the most that I can in the short time that we have on this planet Earth, in this beautiful world. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.